Hello, and welcome. I am Web Weaver, and I'm so glad you have found my channel here today. This is where I do a weekly tarot reading just to give us some guidance for our week ahead, let us know what might be heading our way. As always, these readings are for entertainment purposes only, and I am using the Slavic Legends Tarot. And with the Slavic Legends Tarot, all of the major arcana tie into a Slavic legend. So I have created a little notebook here with all the information that the creators provided so that if we pull a major arcana card, I can read through the legend that goes with it. All right. So this reading is going to be for August 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. All right, I am back in my humble abode. We have returned from our trip to the beach. It was a lovely trip, but I did not want to come home, so alas, you know, the grocery shopping had to be done, and just back into the swing of things here, slowly but surely. I am on later than I wanted to be tonight. We had storms come through today, and I had a terrible headache, and I just kind of laid on the couch for a while, so a couple rounds of ibuprofen, and the headache has gone away for the most part. So, all right. Where's my upper edge here? Right there. Okay. All right. What do we need to know for the week ahead? What's our message for this week? August 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. What do we need to know for this week? All right, we're gonna stop there. Whew. All right, so for Monday, we have the Page of Coins. Let me move these cards here. So when it comes to coins, coins are earth. They are also pentacles in some of the decks. I have some that say pentacles and some that say coins. This one says coins. But when you come to the page, I always think of news. I think of I say this every time. I think of the pages that run for the government officials to bring news, or back in the heyday of newspaper journalism, you know, having pages doing runs for information or sharing information. So I always think of news coming. And with coins, that can be finances, that can be the physical realm, so your physical health, your physical being, your possessions, your physical possessions, your property. So news coming around that sort of thing. The typical meaning of this card, it can be a message to be practical. It may bring you the message to be practical, that you'll be prosperous. It could indicate a time of study, so studying physical books, information, not ChatGPT and all that mess. It could be that you're ready to try something new in the physical realm, so possibly around the realm of finances or physical health or something of that nature. So that is Monday. Tuesday, we have the 10 of Wands. So 10 typically indicates the end of something. Not, it's when you go from 1 to 10, 1 being the beginning, 5 being the major conflict, 10 being, okay, a situation is coming to a close. This tends to be that a situation is coming to a close. However, with the 10 of Wands, it also means a burden. If you look at this image, let's see if I can lift it up so you can see it. Hopefully it'll be steady. The woman is carrying this awfully large burden of sticks, as large as she is, if not larger. And the whole idea of the 10 of Wands is that you are carrying a heavy burden. You are overextending yourself. You may be experiencing a struggle. You might have, burning the candle at both ends. You're overextending yourself. You're doing too much. You're committing to too much, and you don't have the time for all of it. Or it may be that you're feeling overwhelmed. Wands being the suit of fire, that tends to be the drive, the passion, the motivation. And sometimes those of us who spend a lot of time in that fiery energy, I am an Aries, so I am speaking from experience. Sometimes you just need to take a step back because you've taken on too much. It's too much. And you need to learn when to say, okay, I need a break. I need to put something down. I need to delegate. I need to decide what are my priorities and put the rest of them aside. Set some of those branches down. So on Tuesday, you may realize that you are carrying too much, or you are being warned not to sign up for too much, not to take on too much of a role. Okay. So for Wednesday, we have the Knight of Cups. So this is actually, when you think of knights tend to be forward motion, action, charging into battle, that kind of thing, kind of like chariot energy, if you will. But when it comes to the Knight of Cups, it's actually different. This is like active non-striving. This is turning inward, looking at our emotions, moving forward in the emotional realm, not in the physical realm, not charging ahead into battle. This is introspection. It may be that you'll meet someone who is introspective. It might be that there is a proposition made that you need to decide on. It has to do with sensitivity and imagination. It can have to do with romance, the chivalry of the knights, but it's about following your heart, following your emotion, following what feels right. So instead of charging into battle or whatnot, as we think of knights, this is about following your heart for Wednesday. So that's helpful. All right. Thursday, we have the 4 of Coins. So let me make sure you can still see all those. Yep. Okay. Again, coins being the realm of earth. So we are looking at the physical realm, physical body, wealth, money, finances, health, possessions, things like that. And if you look at this, you've got this goose sitting on top of all of this jewels and gold and gems and all the coins down in there. And 5s in a deck tend to be where the major conflict is when it comes to that suit. So this is just before the major conflict. This is possessiveness. That goose is like Scrooge McDuck from DuckTales, right? That is what this card is. This is the possessiveness, the control, blocking change. Don't want things to change. I'm happy sitting on all of my stuff, right? It could also indicate solitude and unhappiness. I mean, how often I am an exennial, an elder millennial. I grew up with DuckTales. Scrooge McDuck rarely ever seemed happy for having this vault of gold, right? He was always stressed. He was always possessive. He was, you rarely saw him pleased, right? So this could have to do with those kind of feelings. He was always alone. I mean, he had his friends around that wanted to be there for him, but he was very solitary. He didn't want to get involved in things. So it could be maybe putting up unhealthy boundaries and being very solitary. In today's world, the goal is to be financially stable. And obviously, if you have this kind of wealth, you are financially stable, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're happy. So we need to be aware of that on Thursday. What do we need to be happy and financially stable without being hoarding and possessive and blocking change, avoiding change, because it might, take some of that away. So something to consider on Thursday. Friday, we have justice. And let me make sure that's still in the picture. Yes, okay. So justice is exactly what it sounds like. It is the major arcana. So I will be reading from the book here momentarily. But justice has to do with justice, responsibility. It could be a decision making. When justice is served, a decision is made, right? So it could be that. Let me slide my glasses on so I can read to you from this lovely book once I find justice. It could be legal matters. It could be that, a fair outcome occurs in a legal matter. There's lots of those going on in this country right now. So, there it is. Ha. Okay. One of these days I'm going to put little tabs on there. But justice is honesty. It's balance. We have the scales there. They're balanced. Think of, justice, the statue of justice in the courts, being blindfolded with the even scales. But it can also have to do with the consequences of your actions. So justice features Sudenika, one of the 3 daughters of the god Sud. And if I am mispronouncing these and you know it, I apologize. Sudenika is a character from Slavic mythology who was regarded as the goddess of fate and justice. Her name derives from the word sad, which refers to her role as a judge who decided the fate of people. It was believed that Sudenika resided in an underground palace where she, along with other goddesses of fate, such as Ziwona and Karmazina, prepared strict and relentless judgments for people. Her character was often depicted as an elderly woman in a long robe with a crown on her head, sometimes accompanied by a sword and scales. According to folk belief, Sudenika had an influence on people's destinies, determining their experiences and their rewards or punishments they would encounter. People would often pray to Sudenika, seeking luck, protection, or mercy in difficult situations. Sudenika was also associated with rites of passage, such as births, weddings, or funerals, where her presence was evident in rituals and prayers. In some beliefs, she is perceived as a benevolent goddess who rewards the people for doing good deeds, while in others she is portrayed as a stern and uncompromising judge who punishes wrongdoing. So that is justice on Friday. So then we move to Saturday, and we have the 8 of Cups. The 8 of Cups, again, cups being emotion, this is about walking away from the past. This is, okay, these things no longer serve me. I am just going to, I'm moving on. I'm walking away. I am moving beyond the past. I am tired of what's happening here in this area where I am dealing with the past that is following me. I'm leaving. It can also be setting healthy boundaries. So whereas this might be unhealthy boundaries, this is talking about setting healthy boundaries, leaving behind something that no longer serves you in order to find something else. that is the Eight of Cups. That is for Saturday. And then for Sunday, we have the Seven of Swords. So the only swords we have in this this set. So swords are the element of air, which has to do with knowledge, wondering, intellect, like mind game type things, right? Having to do with the mind, not necessarily always mind games. But for this card, you can see that this person has a sack of swords. He's kind of examining that one in the moonlight, sitting up in a tree, but he's got a satchel with him. He's traveling. He's on the move. And he's alone. So it could be a running away, getting away with whatever it was he took, possibly. It could be new schemes, not in a bad way. This card could go either way. It could be, you know, a hidden dishonor. Maybe he didn't earn these swords. Maybe he took these swords and he's examining his loot. Maybe he raided a battlefield. I don't know. It could be dishonor, but it could also just be coming up with new ideas, new solutions, thinking outside the box. And generally it tends to mean some kind of partial victory. So he did get away with some swords, if that is in fact what this card is insinuating. But the partial victory came through an act of cunning, perhaps trickery, deceit, if we go so far. So there is a partial victory here on Sunday, but it may not be the most honest victory. And because it's partial, it's not necessarily a, you know, cheering fans in the background kind of thing, right? You know, is he a thief? Maybe, maybe not. Did he steal those swords? Maybe, maybe not. But he got away with the swords, right? It's a partial victory. He doesn't necessarily look, you know, celebratory and proud, but he is examining what he has. So, a partial victory of some sort on Sunday. So that is our week ahead. I hope you all have a lovely week. If you celebrate Lammas on August 1st, then Blessed Lammas, a day late. We will be celebrating hopefully Friday or Saturday, depending on what the weather does, when we hit astrological Lammas on the 7th. So probably not doing anything big, just a simple, a very simple, small ritual, since it's just myself and my immediate family. So something to mark the change of seasons. All right. I hope you have a lovely week, and I will see you next Sunday. Blessed be.